We need to find this place or we'll be late.
Make a left on Astrology Avenue. Oh, I'm sorry, I meant right. It should be right here at 444 Spearway. Oh, turn!
It looks like Renee. Yay, we're on time. The James and Kelly Show.
Great, let's start the show.
Hi, Kelly, how are you? I'm fine. How are you?
Happy happy Thanksgiving.
Well, thank you. Happy post to you too, my friend. How was it for you?
It was really, really nice. I spent it with my best friend of many, many years, 4 years, and her son. And it was simple. And my doggy Pearl had her spay on Wednesday, so that was interesting.
I saw the picture. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and she's great. It's Daddy that's a little nervous, but she's great.
Yeah.
So that was really nice, and it's nice. We just hung out Friday and Saturday and just watched television, movies, and there's a great movie called My Policeman, which is a great. I think I'll be up for Best Picture. Watch that. We should watch that.
Okay.
Nice. So, how was your holiday?
It was so fabulous because I went to Don's sister's house, my sister-in-law, Roseanne, and I didn't cook. I didn't clean. It was fabulous. Everybody was so nice and kind and decent and good. There was no crazy discussion of anything.
No country work had to be done. No.
I tell you, it was like perfect. And then I came home and there was snow on the ground and I had a hot toddy and a fireplace and watched Hallmark movies. It was perfect.
That's great. Great. Wow.
Yes.
Well, now I know there's a lot in astrology you want to cover, right? About love.
There's a lot I want to cover, but tonight I'm only going to cover a real important aspect that's coming up.
Say hello to people. Like
Karen, yes.
Dottie Green. Hello.
Hi. Oh my gosh. Hi, Soray. Oh my gosh. Soray Fernandez. Milo. Hi, honey. How are you? From all the way from Santo Domingo, James. Hi, Lori Counts.
Yes, Harry Styles was great. Yes. Hi, Tracy. Okay. Gratitude to both of you. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you for everybody also from other countries that have been tuning in and telling everybody about the show. We really appreciate that. I mean, this morning I had someone from the Middle East and Saudi Arabia. And yeah, so it's getting out.
Isn't that something?
It's great.
Wow. So great.
So the world needs love. And tonight's show is all about love. So
yes.
Kelly, let's start off the astrology about love, Kelly.
About love. I know. This is not normally
shocking. Yeah, Kelly.
Okay, this is so friggin' shocking. You're not going to believe it. I had to double check it like 5 times. Okay, so let's talk about this because this is really amazing. As you know, we're going into December, and I'll do a big show on astrology for December because there's a lot of aspects. But from December 1st, so that's Thursday, from December 1st until December 5th. So think, just a few days coming up, and we've got a few days of this. So really unique time. It's a really special time. And I'll tell you why. It's because Venus and Mars are in what's called a mutual exchange of signs. So let's pull that back. I know it's a Vedic term called Parivartan Yoga. Okay. And so I'm talking about Vedic astrology here. So what this means is for these 5 days from December 1st to December 5th, Venus, the planet of love and relationships, is in Scorpio. Scorpio is ruled by Mars, okay? At the very same time, Mars is in Taurus and it's ruled by Venus. So this increases the power of both of the houses involved. It's an actual mutual exchange of the signs with energy. And, Mars and Venus, we always talk about Mars and Venus, Mars is so male and Venus is so female. And often, there can be problems, but not now. This is a real special time of healing in the world and healing in relationships and healing of yourself. And on top of that, towards the end of December, Venus is going to be visible in the night sky. And that's going to remind everybody, about love and to remember that love exists.
Wow.
So it's a really important time coming up.
Wow, that's fantastic. And
unusual.
Scorpio, Venus, Mars, that's incredible. Taurus.
It's incredible, right? I mean, it's just a mutual exchange of energies.
So activation of love.
Yes, I love that.
And we have a special activation of love tonight's show.
Yeah.
We have some special guests for everybody that I met several weeks ago at a film festival in Sedona, Arizona. And I was asked to go I was in a film there, but I was asked to go to a question and answer panel. I did that and met these lovely ladies there and saw their film. And it blew me away as the day, and they're incredible. And the movie was incredible, and it won the whole film festival. And I thought it was so incredible, their journey, that I thought we should invite them on the show tonight to share with you and everyone you know, because the movie is very, very touching. So I'd like to invite them in right now. So we have Dana, that's Krisanna right there. Sexton, hello.
Hi.
Dana.
Hi. Welcome. I'm so glad you guys are here today.
Yes, and Krisanna, you want to tell us your position and your part in the movie? I know so everyone knows, and then Dana can take it away from that point, I guess.
Yeah, well, thanks for having us. It was truly special having you in the audience when we were able to screen the film at Illuminate, James. And yeah, so I'm the director, and I've been a filmmaker since I was 16, and I've been creating a lot of content and just kind of doing my thing, and always wanted to create a feature film, but this is my first feature documentary. And really it follows the journey of my partner, Dana, and her struggle with chronic pain. And there's a lot of nuances to that story that we talk about in the film. But yeah, we just wanted to create some content that would help people have hope and really know that they are their own best healer, and the power of self-love and the healing power of self-love. Yeah. So that's it in a nutshell, as far as I'm concerned.
And how long did it take you to make the movie? When did you start the movie?
9 months.
9 months?
Yeah, we started, it's really fast. We started it in, gosh, what was it? March of 2020, Dana?
No, it was April.
No, 2021. Oh, geez.
There
we go. And yeah, we wanted to finish it by the end of the year because we felt, in light of COVID and everything people were going through with challenges in their health and such, that it was very timely to release it quickly. And also, it was really important to me to not have the ending of the film be contingent on whether or not Dana got out of pain. So that really helped us redefine our relationship with healing.
The ending was a blowaway ending, which I don't know, but for me, I was like, I just cried at the end because it was a shock, but the way it was done, like I said earlier to you, the way it was portrayed at the end was like another little like, oh wow, I never expected that little part of love. And Dana, tell us about your journey and how you got involved and what happened to you and so forth.
All right, so back in 2017. I was just exercising. I was on a treadmill and I pulled a muscle in my calf, and so began the journey. It should have been something that healed right away, but it turns out when you injure yourself and you're under an extreme amount of stress in your life and had so many things unprocessed, I had just gone through a really difficult breakup and had so much stress that it wasn't healing. And then my other leg started hurting, and then all of this time went by and I was going to all these doctors and physical therapy and just everything under the sun. And it just wasn't healing. And then eventually my back started to ache. They sent me for an MRI and they were like, oh my gosh, of course you have a herniated disc. That's the answer. It's radiating pain to your legs and your feet, the whole thing. And I thought, okay, well, I am not having surgery. I'm going to do everything I can to heal. So we tried so many things that were very painful. I would just come home from sessions in tears, Graston technique, dry needling, a thing that would zap me called the scrambler to rewire the pain circuits in my brain. Like I literally tried everything. And unfortunately, it was in March of 2020 where kind of we had an event in our lives that caused more stress and my body was just done. And and this is on top of, 40 years of trauma and stuffing down things that I was just, trying to survive. And I wore as a badge of honor that I'm not an angry person and I don't express these things and that I'm always okay. And I wasn't okay. So long story short, at the same time that I was going through all of this, Krisanna started documenting my journey because she's like watching her partner suffer so badly and thinking, I don't know where this is going to lead, but she just picked up her camera and said, can I start filming? And she did. And during that time that things got really bad, I ended up having 2 unsuccessful spine surgeries in 2020, right when COVID started. It was one of the most difficult times of both of our lives. We were very isolated because at that time, everybody was afraid of each other. So I was in the hospital alone, and then I came out and I had a spinal fluid leak that was very bad. And I went in 6 weeks later for emergency surgery. I ended up in ICU because it things didn't necessarily heal as quickly and as well as we were hoping. And I never thought I was coming out. I literally thought I was going to die in ICU alone. So after some time went by, Krisanna just kind of stopped doing, video production and film work to take care of me during COVID. And it turned out that there was somebody who requested her to meet with them for a potential film on healing.
Just happened.
Right. So I actually was well enough to drive to Sedona with her. And it was a founder of some mind-body practices in a retreat center in Sedona. And we were sitting there for the meeting, and the executive producer said, "What is your story?" And I was like, it's a long story. It's rough. I've been, going through this healing journey. And so in that, obviously, watching my journey and becoming the protagonist of this film just kind of unfolded very naturally in that moment. So we went through the story. I'm not going to give away all the details. Obviously, our film is available to watch right now between now and December 4th. So I want people to see it. But we took 18 people on the journey with us, and we immersed them in these practices at
a retreat center, right? At a retreat center.
Absolutely. And so the stories that unfolded were beautiful. And like I said, I won't give you the punchline, but what I can say is that the definition of healing is different for everybody. And I think that this was one of the most, I call it, brutal journeys of our entire life. So thank you so much for having us tonight.
Yeah. And Kelly, being a therapist, we deal with the show with a lot of trauma, right?
Yeah, right.
And unresolved trauma can result in
absolutely somatically, it goes in the body.
Right.
And so then if all of a sudden you think you have a little thing like a pulled muscle, it's a big thing because of all the somatic, all the trauma that would be stored in the body. Wow.
Did you have to forgive yourself, Dana? Did you find in your process of—
Good question.
I'm just curious, this hit my head, like, going through that, would you have to forgive yourself on some level or some time or—
So many levels, James. Self-forgiveness ended up being one of the most critical components of my journey. And first of all, because I had so much guilt and shame for having surgery when I really felt like it was everything that I was against and I didn't want to do it. And I did it anyway. And then it went so badly. I mean, I was so much worse off. So I had to forgive myself for making that decision, essentially. I mean, I was very much told that's the only thing that can possibly help me. But there was something deeper inside of me that was like, this is probably not the right thing to do. But looking back, Love Heals wouldn't exist the way it does without my journey.
Right. You wouldn't be here healing the world, right?
That's right. So I had to take one for the team, for us to spread hope and healing to the world, and that's okay.
Exactly.
But the other thing is, and this was a much deeper one, and in being very vulnerable, I will say, I did have a lot of trauma throughout my life. I've had a lot of abuse and a lot of sexual abuse in my life that was started at a very young age. And I think there's something within me that needed to release myself of like, this had to have been my fault. I could have avoided this. I should have told somebody sooner. I really wrestled with that a lot throughout my life. So yeah, forgiving my sweet child self for not navigating that.
And having compassion for yourself.
Oh my gosh. Self-compassion and self-love and self-forgiveness literally is the most critical elements of moving into a place where your body feels like, we can heal. We are healing.
Yeah.
So
if we allow ourselves, we're constantly healing in that space. And as abuse as children goes, there's a lot, by the way, unfortunately, it's a common these days, but as a child, you're a child. We look to adults to tell us the right thing to do. And we think they know better, but they don't always. And it's a very vulnerable place to be as a child. I mean, it's just really
And
the word.
Krisanna, what made you decide to follow your partner's pain like that? I mean, out of deep love? It's amazing to me that what made you do that?
Question.
Oh, sometimes I think throughout my life, well, you two probably know this better than anyone, but throughout my life, I've had these like I'm compelled to do something and it doesn't quite make sense, but I can't shake it.
Yeah. Oh, I know that one real well.
Yes,
Yeah.
very intuitive. Right.
Yeah, and I actually I really struggled with the idea of even filming some of these very tender moments because, of course, I wasn't filming the hardest stuff. That was like we were in it, the darkest stuff. We were in it, but yeah, I really wrestled with it. And anytime I would try to be like, oh, I don't know, I just couldn't. I felt like this is a have to. And at the end, there was some point where I said, even if it's just for us. Even if this is just like a marker of, okay, we've made progress because look at where we were now 6 months later. Like I had to hope, but every day felt so long. Every day felt like it was getting darker. So I had to, I think it was just kind of like, okay, if I film some of this, then I'll at least be able to see there's been some change down the road.
How did you change throughout this process?
Oh, good question.
Oh my. I'm still changing. I would say the deepest thing that happened inside of me is that as Dana was, in like the most horrific pain and couldn't move, it just brought up all this stuff. And I started doing like really intense therapy and we started seeing an intuitive. And as soon as Dana could actually leave the house, she was going as well and doing her own sessions. But I call it the drudging. It was like, okay, if potentially there is a way for Dana to get out of pain by addressing some of the stuff in her past, that I'm going to do it too, because it's bringing up a lot of my own triggers and a lot of my own codependency and stuff that's it's not healthy.
So you both had to be really vulnerable with each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I think to yeah, and just real quick, I was going to say the biggest thing for me was I had to start looking at how much I didn't love myself as I was toward the end of the creation of Love Heals. I had this awakening like 2 months from finishing, like, oh, I actually think I hate myself. I can't be a conduit of this message of love if I still have this block. And it's from programming and childhood. And I knew I was gay at a very young age. And I hated myself for it so much so that I like married a man and did all these other things. And so, there's layers there that I was starting to have to address. And I wouldn't say I've arrived, but I definitely made some progress. And this love and appreciation for especially the young parts of me that went through that darkness, I guess.
Krisanna, I want to ask you a question which just came to my head. Was during the filming of this, were there sections where it got so overwhelming that you had to stop, and like through your own process of watching this, and your own process was so intense, I have to stop for just a little bit here and let me continue in a week or so and let me process? Did that come up a lot, or no?
So I didn't get the luxury of a week break, but because the editing window, I think it was like 2 months, and there was so much that I wasn't going to skip a minute. I was not going to take any shortcuts. So it was like 15-hour days a lot of times, but there were times where I'd hit a brick wall. Yeah. And so, there was often, it was my own resistance, even being in the film. I told Dana, I will not be in this film. I want people to watch it, and seeing a gay couple, they're not going to watch it. And that there was a major creative block that happened when I refused to be in the film. And then when I finally accepted this download I kept getting, then I made all these creative leaps. There were times that I would have to like take a minute and even just tell Dana about this story I was editing or this person's journey, because it was like I was feeling it with them. And there's 150 hours of content. So all that content that didn't make it into film, I still felt like I was feeling it with those different people. Yeah.
I gotta say my hat is off to you, because I'm pretty skeptical about every movies and everything, but you can see, and I felt in your movie, you can see your journey, and you really lighten that movie up. You really see kind of your journey, and I don't want to ruin it for people, but at the very end, it's like, oh my gosh, and you can see not only Dana's journey, but your journey. And I'm like, I told you, you're both healers, and I first met you, and you are that healing energy of both of you come together beautifully in the movie. So congratulations, really, for your first time out. And,
oh gosh, yes. James, should we watch the preview of it?
Yes, let's share a trailer with everybody. Perfect.
I'm Krisanna, and I'm a filmmaker. My partner Dana and I have been together 4 years, and throughout our relationship, Dana has suffered with chronic pain. After going from doctor to doctor, trying desperately to find answers, in 2020, she had 2 spine surgeries. When the spine surgeries failed to bring her relief, I began documenting her journey. I believed for a miracle and wanted to have a camera in hand when it happened. Then I was asked to create a documentary on healing to show how an ancient principle that's been known for 10,000 years was the secret to health. I wondered, how has this ancient principle helped so many heal? And can it help Dana too? And so began our journey.
스스로 자기의 건강은 자기가 지켜야 되고, 근데 그러한 그 각성이 됐다 해도 방법을 모르면 안 된다.
I know a body can do miraculous things, but I just didn't know how to tap into it. I don't know what's missing in my life.
Why am I trying so hard? Why am I suffering so much? I kept telling myself that I could do this on my own, but I can't. I need help.
I have nothing else. So I had to get to a place where I was ready to heal.
So pain is a signal of protection. And the question is, from what?
Illness and pain are symptoms that you're not living in harmony, and that you should be dealing with the symptom not as the problem, but as a message that says, do something else.
Go inside and then find that thing that you're looking for all your life.
All of a sudden I could walk. The pain left my body and I could walk just fine.
I've been in chronic pain for like 10 years, and this is the first time that I can remember not even thinking about my knee.
I know we have the answers here, and I know that we can heal ourselves. Now I believe it a little bit more.
This journey woke me up. In the deepest pain and the darkest days, it allowed me to access something within myself that I wouldn't have otherwise.
Wow. And that's just a teeny bit. Wow. It's powerful. It's powerful. Yeah. It's powerful.
Kyle Hodges asked a good question here, and we were just talking about this before we came on. She said, as a horse owner, I love the beautiful horse in the background. Dana, what does it symbolize to you? We were just talking about that.
Oh, wow. So I love this question. Thank you for asking. When I first put this on my wall, what it symbolized was freedom. And the reason I put it up is because I finally broke the chains of some serious people pleasing and codependency. I was in a very misaligned relationship for about 6 years. And I didn't see it. I didn't see that I was giving so much of myself that I left feeling I was just empty. I was like a shell of a human. And I knew that I had so much to give. And when I finally had the strength to stop living out of alignment, and I've loved horses my entire life. I've done a lot of volunteer work in the equine therapy settings. And so what it symbolized to me was me stepping into my power, me breaking codependency, me having the freedom that I needed and deserved, whether I was with someone or not. Krisanna's, our production company is called Live Wild Films, because I believe, like Atticus, the poem, love her, but leave her wild. We all deserve to be free and authentic to who we really, truly are. So that's one. And the other thing is, Krisanna and I are just launching production on our next film, and it's going to be about the healing power of horses. And there's so much there. So thank you. Thank you for asking.
Well, you had to be very brave, because to be authentic, you risk being abandoned. So you have to be really brave. And what you did, and what you two did together here is brave.
Yeah, it is. It's a bravery. And how's been the reaction of the film? You can share with everybody. I know you won the Sedona, the Illuminate Film Festival. And tell us about other film festivals you entered and are going to enter.
Krisanna, do you want me to take this one, or do you
that's your wheelhouse.
Yeah. So first, let me address what you asked, James, about the reaction of the film. I will tell you that in the last few weeks of Krisanna's editing, I would literally find her on her office floor, like in a puddle of tears, because she was so afraid of what the reaction was going to be. And not only that, the overwhelm of editing and trying to figure out how to put this incredible story together so that it could be received the way it needed to be. And I will tell you that our response to this film has been nothing short of miraculous. We would hear from people all over the world about how watching our film gave them more hope and potential tools and guidance for healing than maybe anything else they've ever seen. So that in and of itself, to hear from real humans on the other side of the screen, having these responses to our film and to the blood, sweat, and tears that went into creating Love Heals was, I mean, even Krisanna always told me, if it helps one person on their journey, one person, it's all worth it. Well, now it's helping countless people. We've definitely entered film festivals. We've won 3 official selection awards so far. And then we won the Illuminate Film Festival, which means, I mean, out of all of the films in the entire festival, this one was selected by the audience as their favorite film. So that was a really big deal. And
you had some contenders, some tough contenders, let me tell you.
Bill, you were in.
No, but really, I was so happy. I mean, yeah, you deserve to win, really.
Yeah.
And you'll be more too. You enter more, you'll win more.
And didn't you talked about earlier about Israel? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so we actually were accepted. We had an official selection award for the film festival in Israel. And it was interesting because they were interested in the film and they said, I'm sorry, we don't have the ability to show it at, it's called the Spirit Film Festival, unless you get Hebrew subtitles. And we were like, oh my gosh, we have to work tirelessly. We have to get this in Hebrew. So we did it. We spent the money and found the right person and got it in Hebrew. And they just showed the film this last weekend, a few days ago. And they said that the response was just off the charts. Wow. So they had about 100 people see the film, and now they want to come up with an arrangement with us to show it for several weeks in a virtual screening setting to really spread hope and healing to the people in Israel. So it's really touching.
Wow. And just so you know, Germany and is very big. Berlin Film Festival, very big. And Germans are actually very open now to this way of thinking, as is the UK, of course. So I don't know the film festival world, but UK and Germany would be good. And South America would be great. Latin America is great. And of course, Australia. Our friends are in Australia. They're very open-minded to all this. So the time has come to, And, also the thought I had in my head as you were talking earlier was, you also give permission in that little part of the head to heal, to allow yourself to heal. That little switch goes off. I'm worthy of it. That's okay. I can do this. Love is the answer, as we all know.
And your timing on this is really auspicious. It's really perfect because we're in a healing time in the world. We're in a healing time for each of us to do our own inner work for healing. And the film, I think, is really going to open many doors for many people. It's perfect time for this. I know astrologically how tough it would have been during March and in 2021. It would have been rough. But the fact that you knew and you followed that instinct, you knew you had to do it, and then you just followed it and just kept going and just keep going. This has so many legs and wings, and this will really help so many people here.
Well, and I have a question for you. Krisanna also maybe. What's your definition of pain? Has that changed since you've made the movie?
Great question.
My gosh. I mean, I'm going to actually say what I said in the film because it was such an authentic thing in that moment to recognize that I literally thought my life was over when that pain began. And then I realized that that's actually when my life started.
Wow. That's right.
Because the pain at first was my enemy. I was afraid of it. I was catastrophizing. It's not going away. It's getting worse. My life is over. I can't do anything. And all of that was just completely wrecking my nervous system. I mean, you can't heal in a space where you're so full of fear and all of this energy of my life is over. And it wasn't until realizing that the pain actually made me take the most important journey of my life. And that's the one inward, to actually start processing years and years of suppressed trauma and anger that was never expressed. And I love that I needed to have for myself and forgiveness and all of the things. So what I will share is that, and I see a lot of questions about this.
Right.
There is no silver bullet to healing pain or, chronic illness and chronic pain. But when you start to take the journey inward and give your body and your nervous system a chance to be at rest and give it the environment, and as Bruce talks about, being in harmony so that your body can actually, and your mind, all of it together, right? It's one entity, can allow that healing in. But some people heal more because they did expressive writing, just getting in their bodies. Some people through tapping, some people through, there's all of these different ways. And I was driving myself nuts. My nervous system was up here because I created this thing like a checklist. My type A personality was like, okay, I did my meditation. I did my Qigong. I did this. Why am I not healing? I did my journaling. And I had this like checkbox every day. And I'm wondering, why can't I heal myself? I was just a nervous wreck because I couldn't understand. And all of that relationship to pain and relationship to discomfort and seeing it as a sensation, understanding it as a signal that something is not right. I just started to change I actually stopped saying the word. There was a point in time when Krisanna would say, well, how's your pain today? How are you doing? And I started to learn, and you'll see in the film, through some really incredible humans that became mentors to me, an ex-spine surgeon. And he said, he created this community and he's like, all right, everybody, we're not talking about our pain.
Great guy. Yeah.
Oh, I love him. So,
great.
That was like the beginning of this huge shift. Yeah.
How much of forgiveness was involved in your shift? Of forgiving people, of forgiving yourself, of forgiving whatever?
I would say forgiveness was one of the most important factors, and mostly for myself. I think I actually thought I very much processed a lot of forgiveness for people who have hurt me in my life. But I didn't know there was an element left for me. So while I was expressive writing, I found myself for the first time, like writing letters to myself or writing something in third person. I was taught some different techniques that I'd never done before. I'd never journaled in my entire life, but I started to reprocess things. And literally through these exercises and practices, it's rewiring your brain, which is really where pain is, right? So forgiveness was huge.
These techniques really, really work because most of you know, I had a traumatic brain injury over 20 years ago, and I used all of these techniques to heal and rewire my brain. So everything that you talk about in the film, I've done, and it works. And I love the component of love to it. Really, really works.
And Krisanna, I have a question for you. How has this changed your relationship together? Have you discussed, has it, certain things that Dana's gone through, and you were looking at this, I'm sure it's made you guys closer together, or it's brought up stuff in you that you have to communicate with her? It's like, thank you for opening this door for me, because I never looked at this before. Has that happened as well for you?
So much, yes. What's very interesting is that the month that our relationship, we really started, we were best friends for a couple of months, and there was some controversy. I was still married to a man, so it was a little complicated. But as I went through a divorce, then we made our relationship more official. But that same month is when she began her chronic pain journey. So there was a while that I blamed myself. Like, what if I'm the reason? What if our love is, and it was so confusing because our love was so pure and so real. And then also I'm watching her suffer and go through all this pain. And there was a very pivotal point before surgeries where we actually went to this Sedona retreat center. That's how I initially got connected to them. And we both did some deep inner work, and we left that retreat, and we individually decided we were never going to drink again. And not that I have anything against alcohol for others, everyone's personal choice. But for us, we were numbing, and I don't believe we would still be together if we were still drinking. So that's way,
profound,
really,
by the way, what you just said. That's profound for the two of you.
Very true.
Yeah, so it forced us to actually look at everything. We didn't have any more coping mechanisms left, or numbing mechanisms, I should say. We figured out other ways to cope, but we really had to, anything we go through, we have to look at it and we talk about it. And then we created a team around us. We got a therapist and an intuitive and just a support system, so that especially with the surgery, we had people that we could really, that could be in the dark stuff with us. So yes, so much of my own stuff has come up and so much of Dana's stuff comes up. And now we just kind of have a process of talking it through and being honest and open and vulnerable. But I really, especially for me, alcoholism runs in my family. So I do not believe I would have been able to navigate that piece of our journey, and especially not create this film had I not said, this is no longer serving me. And then of course our love just grows stronger and stronger and stronger. And yeah, we still have stuff. We still have to like work it out. We just developed so many tools that it's amazing how it seems to shift more quickly as we navigate the tough stuff.
Yeah, good for you. Yeah,
Thank
you'll
you.
have a team soon around you too. Let's see.
Oh, this is a good question. This is from Joe Sunderlad. She says, what part do you think the energies of Sedona itself played into the healing? Good question.
Which one do you want to take that?
I don't know. Well, I can say that in the film, we talk about the energy of Sedona, and that especially there's one woman in particular who speaks to this really well, but there's a lot of additional support in healing because Sedona's energy is very dense. And so, you can do a lot of research on this. We actually talked to some experts in this area and decided it was a little bit of a distraction to get too far down that path, because at the end of the day, what Sedona is doing, as I interpret this information, Sedona is doing supporting the healing work, but this healing work can be done anywhere. And you can get energetic support in other ways. But the energy of that place, yes, it is very powerful, and the vortex energy is very powerful. And there are other places on the planet where you can also be energetically supported. So at the end of the day, I know people are saying, I even saw another question about how can you heal without Sedona? We really hope if you watch the film, you will understand that is not, that's just a small piece. It's a place that is beautiful if you can make it there, but you can do this own work in the comfort of your home, working with people remotely. Energy transmits, and it's not specific to that one area.
Right.
I would love to add just very briefly about Sedona. I think part of the reason healing is so possible and tangible in certain ways, right? Again, define healing, but Sedona is, to me, a way for people to get away from the stress of their lives. They go to Sedona, they unplug, they get into nature, they're focused on themselves. Yeah. And I believe that is the equation that actually needs to occur. Like, going on a healing journey is not selfish. It's actually going to help you fill your cup in ways that can then overflow to the rest of the world, friends, family, communities, whatever that is. And when I was in Sedona for filming, we actually lived in a space in Sedona for about, I don't know what it was, babe, like 6 or 7 weeks, where we would go on these experiences and connect with the nature and the healing energy and all of that stuff. But it was because we were immersed. And when we brought people to Sedona, it's not necessarily just because we were in Sedona that everybody had such a powerful experience. It's because we were in community. We were focused on ourselves. We were being guided through things that brought us home and connected to nature.
Your intention.
100% the intention.
Yeah.
This is an interesting question. This is from Ann Rogers. It's not really a question, it's a comment. And we need to talk about this. She said, well, I just figured that when I signed up, here on Earth, I just signed up for pain, basically, when I came here. And it's a wild experience to say that, but you may have signed up for pain, but now what do you do with it? Because you do not need to live with pain. That's just one aspect of it. What are you not looking at? And that's what you guys are talking about. What is not being said?
Yeah, and I see, back to that pain thought, I was just going to share, I see pain as a great friend and as a really beautiful guide. And of course, I'm not the one in Dana's shoes, so I will never pretend to understand what it is to be in chronic pain. I had versions of chronic pain in my previous relationship when I was under a lot of stress. And at the same time, what she's experienced and what those who experience chronic pain, that, I don't pretend to understand it. However, what I anchor in, and I said this phrase over and over and over, even in the darkest times of this season that we were in, change is the only constant we have. I know change is going to happen. It could get worse, but that's a sign that it also could get better. And what does better mean? We couldn't go back to our old life. Actually, this new life was better for us. So I just see it as a great guide. And I also see pain as a powerful energy. And so it can manifest as like this limiting, demobilizing force, and it can also be transmuted. And I've seen that in Dana very tangibly. As she has released some of this chronic pain in her body, she has this incredible energy to create and to connect. And there's still pain that lingers though, but it's no longer the enemy. It's like, it's okay. We see you and we honor your place here. And if your place is for the rest of her life, so be it. But can it be transmuted into something different and beautiful? And can we anchor into what is the change that's coming? So yeah.
It's like an opportunity.
I love that. Yeah.
Opportunity, and a lot of opportunities.
And Margaret says, and the power of intention is huge. So you really did set your intentions here.
I think it's just the beginning. I mean, I think it's really just the beginning for the two of you. I really do. I said that to you when I first met you. Yes,
you did.
The world needs you.
Yeah. Epiphany Lane says, thank you for admitting that to us about your alcohol use. I felt I needed the retreat from society without the pressure of my life to begin a time of sobriety. So thank you.
That's great. Right. You know, it's a rough school for the soul, this earth school. It's a tough school. It's not natural to us, but again, it does afford us opportunities, and things that sometimes look really dark and really hurtful and horrible are sometimes our greatest gifts. And we just have the courage to unwrap those gifts and look inside and see what's there for us and to use it, you know, and love is all around us. And can we use that? Are we worthy of using that love? Because, you know, love does heal.
Charlene Miller, I am in unbearable pain. Is this taught online? I couldn't be happier for both of you. Love, love, and more love.
So Dana, maybe you can explain about what Charlene should, it's a retreat center that you should contact, or is there a
well, there's multiple ways. I mean, really what we tried to do with our film is be a conduit of many different modalities and people who are in this space of helping others heal from chronic pain and chronic illness. So first of all, I just want to share with her the massive amount of compassion that I have, because I've lived it. I live it. I understand it fully. And it has felt unbearable for me in the past as well. So I honor your journey. And one of the best things I could have done was allow myself to feel that, like feel the anger, feel the fear, feel it first, because I was also trying to bypass all of that. And then stepping into this space of acceptance, like this is where I'm at. And what is it that I can do today to make myself feel more whole? In the trailer, you actually see me doing things from a futon. I was doing like Qigong and different motions with my arms. It was just like, what could I do in those moments? And then I started finding resources. To be honest with you, one of the best things that I could have found, in addition to the journey we took, but before I had all of this, was Curable. There's an app that is specifically for people with chronic pain to teach them the neuroscience, what is actually happening in the brain, how to start to rewire it, writing practices, meditations. It was like $70 for an entire year of access. And I will tell you, it was worth every penny, because it was like the intro level to what I needed to start to understand about what was happening. And it was giving me tools that I didn't have before. And then it was like, once I opened that door, then this one opened, and then this one opened, and then the film started. And I think it's just taking the journey. And one person that's gone through it, that has gotten to a point where they're functional in their life like I am, I'm living my best life. Can I hike a mountain the way I used to? No. But can I stand at the base of it and feel the energy and be in gratitude? Yes. So it's like, I just feel like not a single person can't tell you what resource is going to do the trick, right? What's going to put you over the edge. That is something that happens internally. But if you have these tools and you remain open, it's like things start to fall into place. And I think what our film can do for people is give them hope and tools. And if they go on a resources page, there's different people doing different beautiful work in this space. And can you go to a retreat and immerse yourself in these practices and find some relief? Probably, but that's also not a silver bullet. It's just the immersion where you take everything else out of your life and you get to focus on you. And I think there's some power in that. But then it's, how do you maintain it? Some people from the film, they go on this retreat and they had incredible, extraordinary responses to the work. But if they didn't put it to practice in their daily lives and they let all these stressors come back in, what do you think happens?
Yeah, back to the old
right back. That's right. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Nicole's story says, pain is a catalyst, but we must let go of the victim mentality and codependency. Absolutely. Absolutely. What is the app called?
Oh, Curable. Curable. It was phenomenal. And I'm not an affiliate or anything. It is something that really helped me.
I'm writing that down. Curable.
It's awesome, you guys. It was a great tool.
Yeah, that's how Dana actually found Dr. David Hanscom in our film, was through that app. Yeah. So he's
an amazing man, just amazing. His whole energy was incredible. And
is he the surgeon? He's a spinal surgeon. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, he's amazing. He's amazing. Even when he says the first lines out of his mouth. I'm not going to say it, but
yeah.
The medical world very differently. Okay, Frank Sullivan. There are several types of pain: emotional, physical, and spiritual. So it sounds more one leading into, but how do you get to all three? Because what we all need to be fulfilled as a whole. That's very, very true. So we have to heal the emotional, the physical, the spiritual, and the mental.
Yeah, and the work we did was all of the above. That's why we took multiple people with, everything from gut health issues to migraines, depression and anxiety, chronic pain, heart conditions, everything, the whole gamut. We had a very diverse group of humans going through these practices, these mind-body practices and all of this ancient wisdom. And it's beneficial for everybody in those.
Dana, for a quick question here for you. And it sounds real, and Kelly, I've asked you this before too. How many people do you find, I don't know, rough percentage-wise, find that the pain becomes who they are, that pain body is, that represents who they are, as Eckhart Tolle said, the pain body. A lot of people fall into that, yeah?
It is so not their fault, but it 100% becomes their identity. And
that's it.
So my dad is a perfect example. I've watched him in my generational, on my dad's side. All of them have had chronic pain. And I'm going to be the generational curse breaker, I hope, because what happened was it became exactly who they are to this day. Even my dad watched Love Heals, and I'm like, Dad, will you please try anything? Anything. But he's very stuck in that way, and being a victim serves him in some way. He had to quit working early. He went on disability, and it has become his identity, and it has been his way of gaining some nurturing and a lot of compassion from people. And so what happens is subconsciously people, and I believe my dad included, have found this relationship to their pain and suffering that actually serves them. And so it's really difficult for our nervous systems to let that go when it's what is gaining us love and compassion and understanding. All right.
Again, you would have been very brave to come in to break up the family constellation genealogy, going back, 13 generations. We actually say that that kind of trauma or pain and suffering goes back 13 generations and then forward 13, unless somebody comes in to break the constellation up. And you've done that. You're working on this. This is what you're doing. I think it's clearly both of your life's work to do this.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, it is.
And PTSD, pain of some kind. And Margaret, so many have PTSD and pain of some kind and identify as a pain, like they deserve it. A lot of people feel they deserve it, right? Subconscious amazing and can't let go. Who will be, one thing I did it with Dr. Brian Weiss many years ago, past life regression, and he did this. I don't know if you went through this, where you become the pain in your body and you think, oh, it's a good one. You become that pain, you go into this meditative space and you become the pain and you ask, what am I teaching the body? Why am I holding on to this? What is it teaching me? What lessons do I have to learn? And you give the pain a name and you say, what are you teaching me? And you find out right away. And it does work. It's a good process. I've been doing that with him.
Wow. I have not done that. But in a meditative state, actually being guided at the retreat, I had a huge breakthrough. I myself recognize that I've always been just full of passion and love and just full of, I love life.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of shit stacked against me in my life. So to feel that so naturally just felt so weird. And I never felt understood by my family. And so in this,
I think everyone here, everyone in the room,
everyone. But what I recognized was that the pain that I allowed into my experience in this life was so that I could actually have something to connect with my Dad.
So you could fit in. because
literally-
if you didn't fit in, you would have been abandoned.
Abandoned. And I
It
already
all
felt
goes
like
down to that.
That's right. I already felt so much like I was not in this family. So it was a huge breakthrough. So yeah, good one on that.
Yeah.
James.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's just really interesting. And, I'm going to say, I've said this before, but it's really, really true that some of the hardest lessons and the ones, the most difficult lessons, whether it's a pain, are reserved for the highest evolved beings. So let me say that.
Yeah.
It really is. It really is. They take on a lot, those highly evolved beings. It's a hard lesson. And those are reserved for the postgraduates. So
James, are usually the star seeds that come in to take this on. Because you two are not from here. Definitely not. You came in and said, all right, that family, I'll take that and that, and we'll do this together. That's why you were so pulled to do this work.
It's also showing you that love, in the times we're living, of course, have changed politically and so forth with gay rights and so forth. It just demonstrates too in the movie the love between you, and that it's just so amazing. And thank God nowadays it's very different than it used to be. But my goodness, it's such a great message for just love and being who you are. It really is.
Steve Kanicki says, asking empowering questions like, what is this teaching me, as opposed to why is this happening to me? Yes.
Very true. I have a course in my school, the healing certification course, and that's one of the lessons I have in there. And it's a good one. It's a very good one. And speaking of which,
because you have an amazing discount that only goes until midnight tonight.
At the end of the year, I save 40% off for all my courses at my school, the JP School of Mystical Arts, because it's my way of giving back to people. So the courses that were like $100 or whatever, everything's 40% off no matter what it is. And so there's a code there.
It's amazing to do right now, because again, this month is all going to be about healing and love and healing and doing your dharmic work, because Jupiter's direct now, so it's in Pisces. It's going to be doing our dharmic work. So this is a great time if you are a healer, or if you want to figure out your path. This is a great intuitive work. I mean, 40% off. That's amazing, James. Really generous.
I do it it's very generous. I do it every year, and it's my way of giving back to people. That's what I do. So it's till midnight tonight. So there you go. Be at 40. And this Friday, I'm doing an evening of spirit messages, and that's at danprog.com. So.
And it's going to be more than just messages, right? You're going to be doing some teaching.
I'm going to be doing a whole bunch of different types of stuff. Some healing work, some teaching work, I'm doing meditation and messages from the spirit world. Yeah.
And if people want to sign up for your movie to watch it, how do they do that?
How do they do that?
Yes, they go to www.lovehealsfilm.com, and right at the top, you'll see the trailer and it says watch the film. So between right now and December 4th at midnight in your local time, if you rent the film, you can watch it, and it will be available until the 4th. And then at that point, we don't have it available for a period of time until we find another partnership to do a virtual screening. So if people want to host a screening after they see it and they have a group or a community that they want to share it with, we have a host a screening link on the website as well. So, just go to our website and you can see it now.
And do you have a distributor yet, or no? Or are you still shopping around for that?
No, we don't. So we were given an offer.
Okay.
Yeah, well, we got an offer from Gaia, but it was for like exclusive rights for streaming for 4 years and a really low amount. And what we recognize, James, is that this film needs to get out to people who are necessarily not like already on the seeking path on Gaia.
That's right.
So what happened recently, which is a huge gift to us, is that PBS is actually picking up our film to get it on public television next year, starting in May. So millions of people will get to see Love Heals on TV.
That's fantastic.
So great.
Thank you, Spirit. Yeah, that's great.
Gosh.
More great stuff coming for you girls, because, you're doing the right thing. You're coming from love. You're teaching love. You're reminding people about love. That love heals. Thank you very much for being with us tonight. Really sharing your stories, because it's enlightening and loving, and really honored to have you.
It's deep. I love your authentic stories, your authentic selves, and I love that you've been so vulnerable about doing all this work. It's so healing, and it allows everybody who's watching this to get in touch with their own vulnerability.
It's true. It gives them permission to do that. So thank you very, very much. I really appreciate it.
Wow.
And Kelly, what do you next couple of days?
Well, Thursday, I've got my show Thursday, and I'm going to be doing Ask Me Anything, and we're going to be doing all about December astrology. So please tune in on Thursday night to watch that. And let's see. And everybody's saying thank you. They're so looking forward to seeing this movie.
Everybody watch it.
Everybody will be amazing. So this is so great.
Well, we're just grateful to be here. Thanks for having us. And if I can encourage just all who are watching, if there's anything you can do to send yourself just a little bit of love today, I think we all just deserve, some extra. Even if you don't feel it quite yet, but just saying it out loud, looking in the mirror, saying I love you can change everything. I actually had someone at the Illuminate Film Festival, an older gentleman, come up to me. And after watching our film, he had tears in his eyes, and he said, Krisanna, I realize I don't love myself. And I didn't ever realize that. And he's like, now I got to go on the journey. I have to figure out how to love myself. And I think just that awareness is so beautiful.
And it's not too late.
No.
It's never too late.
Never too late. Never too late.
So I love you all. I love you
all. Love you guys.
Love you guys. Thanks, everybody. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Both Sides Now and Beyond, featuring spiritual medium and master teacher James Van Praagh and spiritual medium and psychotherapist Kelly White.
That was great. Maybe we changed some lives.
And maybe opened up some minds.
Which way do I turn?
Right. I mean left.